with you. Flip a doujin in the bed, I'm reading manga till it's 2. Tell me that you love a sip, I go, I'm knowing that it's true. Cause you acting all moe and vanilla in my view. So this is for them waifus, straight 2D flex in my life, fool. If you fuck with hentai, you my dude. Let the beat right out, keep it nice and smooth, yo.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Weeabooze, the anime podcast, where some of the most unqualified people try to answer your anime questions. I'm Kyle.
I'm Sam.
I'm Jeremy.
I'm Hunter.
We finally have all four of us.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
This is the first time. It just took 3 episodes. This week we're going to do one of our own topics instead of answering your questions. But before we start, I did want to pull one thing that an anonymous user sent us. We got a response that said, "Thanks for answering my question, sexualizing minors in anime, on your podcast. It was so exciting for some reason. I freaked out a little. I'm really enjoying the podcast. It's fun to listen to. Anyway, another question for podcast. What are your opinions on why anime has a negative stigma when so many people already know of the popular ones like Naruto, One Piece, and Bleach? I always find it difficult to talk about anime with people who don't watch it. Also, what do you think of Weeabooze?" That was our topic.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Pretty much exactly our topic.
I know. It's so crazy.
Yeah,
our topic that we chose way before we started the podcast, or one of the topics we chose, was why anime has like a negative connotation in terms of society and
world.
Yeah, like why do so many people look down on it? And that's what we're going to talk about today. So it's just crazy that someone already brought it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if we have time after we talk about this topic, we may answer 1 or 2 questions, but for the most part, expect us just to be talking about why people kind of look down on anime and people who watch anime.
Right, just in general.
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of makes sense, though. Like, as much as it sucks, it kind of makes sense, at least in Western culture. Like, here, animated movies, animated film, animated whatever, the intended audience is, in general, children.
Just
Well, yeah.
children.
So
It's
if
like-
someone sees something animated, they just associate it with children. Therefore, it
They don't
almost
ha-
gets this, if you're watching it as an adult or a young adult, you're immature.
Right, that's a very good point.
That's just the initial bias, right? They don't necessarily,
If someone knows nothing about anime and you try to explain it to them, they'll say cartoons, and then then they associate it with children.
Right, but if you explain the story before you say it's an anime, because I've told
They'll
people,
just be like,
what are you
"Dude, that
doing?
sounds awesome."
I'm watching a show. What's it about? And I'll explain the show. Suddenly they're interested, and then if they find out it's
And then
anime,
they're like,
it's
"Oh, it's
immediately like,
anime?"
oh wait, what the hell?
Yeah.
I think it's changed in recent years. Like, so cartoons, like Western cartoons, when you think of a cartoon, people generally think of like stuff that we watched when we were kids, like SpongeBob or Fairly Odd Parents, stuff like that. That's what I think of if I think of cartoon as a medium.
Right.
But now there's a lot more like adult-themed cartoons that have been coming out.
Dude, I like
Well, not only that, but just like sitcoms that are just like animated now.
This generation is growing
I
up
think that's
with
a little
cartoons
different,
and
though.
animation in general.
Yeah.
This generation has literally seen it from when they were kids to now they're adults. So there's adults now indulging in cartoons, but they're making their own genres. That's a point I want to bring up, is that a lot of people view anime as a genre itself when they don't. Like, they have to understand that there are genres of it. Anime is just
It's just another
form of media entertainment.
That's completely true, yeah. I completely agree with one of the many reasons people kind of look down on it is because they associate it with cartoons.
Right.
But another one that always comes up is sexualization.
Oh,
Yeah.
duh.
Because
So
great.
you say anime, and then there's a different group of people who will be like, oh.
They almost immediately associate it with like hentai without even knowing what hentai is.
Right. And I think
They kind of know what a hentai is.
Yeah.
I think that reason why it comes up so much is because I feel like, I know more people watch porn than they do anime. And when people go on porn sites, there's always like an anime section.
That's true.
And so I feel that's my interpretation
That's
of
true.
it.
That's a really good insight as to why there's a stigma. Of course.
I never thought about that.
Me neither. I didn't think
Oh,
about that.
me neither.
Totally. It just came up right now.
I don't know.
But isn't the category actually called hentai?
It
Like,
might
how
be.
would they associate the two? Except for being like, oh, it's a
I-
cartoon.
It's easy.
drawn,
They
I
just
guess.
people just categorize things. Yeah, like,
That's a
oh,
real
that's-
person. That's a real person. That's not a real person.
They're also speaking Japanese.
Have you clicked on one, Kyle?
What? 1,000 of them. Come on.
yeah. Like everyone knows. It's no secret.
It's such a Japanese animation is also extremely eye-catching, or the style in general. Like you know what it is pretty much instantly, like out of the corner of your eye. And there's so many people that just kind of dismiss it.
I mean, and there is like anime that is highly sexualized, but then again,
There's a genre
it's
devoted to
right.
it.
It's like what Jeremy said. There are genres within anime. They're not just all one thing.
Of course.
So
Overly sexualized though.
Yeah.
We literally just finished like prison school.
I know. Isn't it great?
It was
It is.
It's just a flash of nothing but funny.
I'm not
and
gonna. I
boobs.
wouldn't give it a great. It was okay. It was entertaining.
I love it.
It was entertaining.
I was just saying,
Yeah.
if you have time that you want to devote to something, don't devote it to prison school.
Yeah,
But
no.
if you just have time to waste, watch fucking prison school.
I guess.
Like it was, I don't know, like it wasn't like bad, but I wouldn't if I had, like I said, if I had.
It
time
wasn't
to devote to
thought
something.
provoking.
It's something I never would have watched on my own.
I don't know if I would have either, but it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the question again?
Like, why is there a negative connotation
Right.
regarding people who watch anime? Something else that the user asked was like, what do we think of Weeabooze?
Of Weeabooze, and I think
That's
that
probably one
almost
of the
ties
reasons.
into
It is.
The
It
fan
is.
base.
The fan base, like, oh man, when Naruto's still like
You
pretty
just
big,
think of kids
but
running
when-
with their hands
Yeah, I was
behind
about
their
to say,
backs,
when
with the
Naruto-
stupid little headbands
exactly.
on.
We all
When
know that dude.
Naruto was in its
Dude.
like,
in their
growing
defense,
phase.
in their defense, it does make them run faster.
No, it does not. Have you ever like watched the Olympics and Usain Bolt's just arms back?
He'll do it
I'm
one time.
actually pretty sure they do it at the very end.
Well, that's because they're putting their chest out to reach further,
say-
not because it makes them move fast.
half a
But what
second
if they
that
just
get
watch like
from-
the last millisecond of the Olympics and they're like, the fastest people do it too?
Well, because I mean, it just makes sense. You're nabbing that last quarter of a second, like literally how fast you can move your body from here to here without moving your hips is the.
How do they determine
speed
the cross? Can someone just like jump and grab the finish line with their hand? Does it have to be their center body?
Getting off topic. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's whatever body part, any body part that crosses that line first.
Any body part?
Yes, any.
Well, then why wouldn't they use their hand? Just stick it out in front of them the whole time.
Because that wouldn't look like Naruto if they did that.
Palestine. The opposite of anime.
I mean, I could be completely wrong on that. I just guessed.
Right, but exactly. My example was going to be when Naruto was becoming very big, you'd see people always wearing like the village headbands or whatever around their neck or on their head or at the mall, and it was just kind
Is
of
it called
weird.
The Village?
Well, they were
Yeah.
villages in each village, like
The
the
Leaf
Hidden Leaf
Village,
Village,
yeah.
whatever.
Oh,
They
that's
would have their own logo, but I think the fan base almost hurts themselves. Some of the fan base, the extremists, I guess, the weeaboos, the real
The
weeaboos,
Weeabooze.
yeah, they almost isolate themselves.
They do, and I feel like there's good reason for that.
they
Because,
look
like,
for other
in my
weeaboos.
experience, when I was getting really into anime in high school, I had this, like, strange compulsion to not talk to anyone about it. Like, it was the first thing I discovered on my own. Why hadn't anyone talked to me about this before? So I almost felt like I couldn't talk to anyone about it, and I felt like I knew... I knew one kid who did watch Dragon Ball in like elementary school, and he was weird, and so I didn't want to be like that kid.
Oh, yeah. See, for me, I was never afraid to, like, talk about it, but I never started conversation about anime. Like,
You
if
have to
someone's
warm
like,
up
oh, what do
into
you...
it.
If someone's like, oh, so what are you into? I wouldn't be like, oh, I watch anime.
Right.
I would list every other thing. And then if anime ever came up, I'd be like, oh my god, let's go down this road.
Well, that's how
But
I...
even within anime, there were certain shows that's like you don't open with. Like for me, someone's
Right.
like, "What have you watched recently?" You're like, Full Metal Alchemist. It was pretty good. It's not like you're like, "Yeah, so I watched High School of the Dead last night. 10 out of 10. Shit was great."
And instantly,
Well-
from an outsider's perspective, everyone like just don't know what you're talking about. Like, and there's this. It's such a genre of a genre. Like anime in itself is just entertainment. When you ask what are you into, I'm into entertainment. That leads to all kinds of other things.
Yeah.
But there could be all kinds of other. Jeez.
But like what you were saying about how you never lead off with it. You never say, I watch anime.
Yeah.
That happened with Jeremy and I. I remember back in high school, Jeremy sent me a text saying like, hey, our friend Robbie sent me a text like, he's like, "Do you watch Bleach?" And like, even though I had been on episode like whatever of Bleach, I was like, I don't know why. Why are you asking me this? He's like, "Oh, I'm watching it. It's pretty cool." And I'm like, I have
Like, he's
something to tell
trying to
you.
trap
I've seen 250 episodes.
Yesterday.
Pretty much, though.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it felt like. Is like I knew Kyle was a friend, and I didn't like you just don't know a whole lot about him. All of a sudden, he's just like, I have so much to tell you.
I know.
Was it like a weight off your shoulders? Like
It
I have
was.
someone to share it with?
It was. It was
course.
completely that. And I feel like we should get into why, like, weeaboos are such a specific type of nerd, like why they are the way they are. I mean, because that contributes a lot to why it has negative stigma. When you're so absorbed,
Prideful a little bit, yes.
that's part of it. But when
If
you're
you
so
like something
absorbed
that's not,
in your own
Absolutely.
passion and you can't share it with anyone, it builds up. You feel so isolated.
Right. So since you feel like you can't talk about it, you just choose to live more so from what you're
But you do it like, yeah, I'm gonna do it anyway. Like it's a little
Yeah.
it's a little prideful. Like just because you found like an interest.
I know what you mean, but I feel like prideful isn't the word for it. Because I don't think there's necessarily a pride.
It
About
generates from the stigma. Like the only reason there's a pride generated from it is because of the stigma on it. Like there's they're like, I'm gonna do it anyway because that's what they enjoy. Like and
Right.
let's get that.
I mean, there's like an extremist for every form of media. There's a guy that plays too many video games. There's a guy that reads a lot of books. There's like the film buff. But none of them have the stigma, maybe gamer, but none of them really have the stigma associated with weeaboos. Like, if you heard of someone that watched the top 1,000 films ever produced, and they had like posters and knew all about him, you'd be like, that guy's, he's really into cinematography or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it was the same thing, but switch movies with animation, like Japanese animation, and you're like, oh,
Right.
that dude's really fucking weird.
But what's crazy is this is not just a Western thing. Like,
Is
people...
it not? I thought it was strictly
No.
Weeaboo is it?
Weeaboo is. That's an Americanized
the negative
term.
connotation towards anime.
Correct. That also is in Japan. Like, it's not like people who watch
there's
anime...
The word otaku?
Right.
That's like,
Well, I know otaku, but I thought it was much more accepted there. Like, it was more commonplace
Like,
for everyone to watch anime.
regardless of where you go,
Is that not true?
an otaku is an otaku.
Yeah.
There's a difference between, like, in Japan, there are people who watch anime, and then there are otaku. And otaku are...
The obsessed.
Yeah,
Yes.
they're the equivalent of weeaboos
Right.
in America. And this is where I get kind of... This is just my personal insight on it. There's a lot of translation error going on here. In Japan, there's just anime watchers and otaku. Otaku are the equivalent of weeaboos.
Okay.
In America, we kind of adopted the term otaku as someone who watches anime.
Or weeaboo, you mean?
No, otaku. Like
I see what you're
otaku is
saying.
actually a step
So we
below
took their
weeaboo.
extreme.
Sure. Weeaboo is
no,
like the
no.
bad
I
kind of
wouldn't
extreme.
say that.
So we took their extreme and just said, oh, that's just what a regular anime watcher is. We just assumed
Right.
that their extreme was
Like,
normal.
haha, I watch anime. I'm an otaku.
Yeah.
But then there are weeaboos. Like, oh, you're not an otaku. You're a weeaboo. That's our equivalent of otaku.
Right.
I associate the term, and this is completely bastardization of language. It's just completely torn apart here. It doesn't make any logical sense. It's just we took a word from Japan and made it our own. And then we made another one to substitute the word we bastardized,
Right.
which was weeaboo. So there's a lot of discrepancy between those. That's just the way I see it.
Which makes it strange because I used to live next to a sushi restaurant called Otaku.
Yeah,
which,
I see
and
it.
that was before I knew what otaku meant.
Otaku.
Yeah, otaku.
We don't want to
Which-
talk about... No,
Yes.
we're not going to talk about
Dude,
our
we're
restaurant.
opening up- We're opening up a restaurant.
No, we need to copyright it first.
Oh, right. We're not opening up a restaurant.
And
Where
we're
tacos are not
not
on the menu.
Oh, taco. Oh my god.
Otakus.
Sorry.
Dude, we've got so many.
Dude, there's
Just
a
you-
bunch.
Just wait till we turn this
They're
mic
all
off.
puns.
So many puns.
Appetizers are called fillers.
Oh.
I know, right? It's perfect.
Damn, I'd go to that restaurant.
I know.
Want a
It'd be
weird
like
burger
it'd be like a karaoke bar,
and a side of gomena fries.
but you watch anime. Okay, where were we? So yeah, there's also some terminology differences between what is what. But the point I'm trying to make is, in Japan, there are still the obsessed,
Yeah.
just like there are in America. And though, like, the way they act, the personalities of the obsessed in Japan and America are very similar. I mean, we've seen, or at least I've seen, anime where, like, people go to conventions and they act like people who go to conventions in America, Like, it's a very unique type of nerd. It's true, yeah.
Totally.
I mean, a good example is, that proves my point, would be Oremo, which is my little sister can't be this cute.
I was so
She's-
bad.
Well, okay. Yes, it was one of the worst anime, which we should have talked about when we talked about worst
I've
anime.
never even heard of it.
She's this popular model, cute, everyone loves her, but she secretly loves anime.
Not only that, but like
That
specific,
bitch.
And
really, really specific niche of. Like,
yeah, and they fall in love with the brother and sister fall in love and want to. Yeah, so that's just a side note.
It happened.
it's not on my
There's
list.
an
of
anime
to
out there
watch.
for everyone.
What you were saying about conventions though, what came to mind was like the people that go to conventions. The people that go to conventions are people that like their hobby is this thing that they do alone. They enjoy this piece of art alone.
Yeah.
So conventions are weird because you get all these people that like to be alone.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's
suddenly
crazy.
in a group.
Wow, that's a really good point.
It's really awkward. I feel.
I've never been to any of the conventions.
Well, Comic-Con is like a
convention.
little mini version.
Kind of.
right. I've never been to Comic-Con either.
Oh, you didn't go with us?
No.
You've never been to a convention?
No, Sam hasn't.
No.
Oh.
Like no, I mean like in general, like nothing.
No, like I've been to the state fair a couple times. I've been to concerts, but I've never been to a
Oh.
convention.
Think of I think close to like the state fair, but all anime themed and people.
Well,
I've never actually been to the state fair.
We went to. Really?
Yeah.
Like I would imagine it's similar.
The Renaissance
to,
Fair?
I would imagine it's similar to going to Worlds for League, but all anime instead of.
It's not like a place.
because it's set up with booths. Like it's a different feel than
It's more
Worlds.
similar to a mall,
Yes.
like an anime mall.
Very similar to one.
An animal.
an
as
animal.
you-
No,
Yes.
Wait, an animal?
we're already investing in the restaurant. We can't open a mall.
You gotta look
We just need
at
money.
the big picture, Kyle.
Okay. So, we've covered that one of the reasons is because it's associated with cartoons, which is childlike.
Immature.
We've associated it with the fact that it's suggestive and somewhat pornographic, or at least people think it is. And then we've associated it with fans.
These ideas that you're highlighting right now are just easy ideas to bring up as an outside viewer, someone who's never indulged in anime.
Right.
They're just like, oh, I see these things, and that's what you like.
Of
You
course.
like these gay little things. Like,
Yeah.
that's just what people do.
Well, that's the point. If anyone anyone who isn't ignorant towards anime would obviously be more accepting. We're talking about the people, there's a reason we don't go up to people say, like, hi, I'm Kyle and I like to watch anime. Like, you don't do that.
People just write them up.
I mean,
"Alright."
you don't really say that with any hobby though. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
does
no, I
any
agree
one
completely, yeah.
hobby
Yeah.
define you that much? Do you say, I'm Hunter and I play guitar?
Kind of. If
Maybe.
your hobby was like how you made money and how you lived in the world, like if you played guitar for a living, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, hi, my name is Jeremy and I like people. Like, that's my thing.
Is that your pickup line?
Yeah, I like
It
people.
could be.
So, be a likable person, No.
I don't know. I think before you go into hobbies with things, before you tell people your interests, you get to know them. Your interests
course.
are kind of like
Yes.
your own. They're personal. You don't share personal thoughts with people until you get to know them. And anime is a step behind that.
I completely agree with that, but I brought that up because you always know there's that first day of school where it's like stand up and introduce yourself and say one thing, and that was like,
God.
I'm gonna throw up.
I'm Kyle and I'm about.
Anime! I like anime! Oh!
This is kind of off topic. I remember it was fourth grade, specifically fourth grade. I was in class and there was this new girl who came in to sit at the table named Sarah. And she sits down at the table and she goes, hi, my name's Sarah. Do you guys want to be my friends?
Oh,
and I was
no.
like,
never-
I was like, are you allowed to just do that?
I've never made a friend before, have you?
Yeah.
I have to judge you first.
Are you still friends with Sarah?
I moved. No.
That bitch.
Before you moved. That
No.
bitch.
I hate Sarah.
No. I don't know. I don't remember her last name.
I don't remember a lot of people's last names. I mean, this group of 4 people, I know
What's
the last
Jeremy's last name?
Nibbles.
It's not. Don't say real. Nibbles?
Jeremy Nibbles.
Nibbles. Pretty bad.
All right, so what do you think people can take from this, essentially? Is there a way to kind of nullify this negative stigma in any way?
Don't care.
Yeah, no.
Don't care.
I think that's
Just
a good-
don't care.
That's dangerous. I feel like the cringeworthy fans are people who already don't care.
Okay.
Oof,
So what
that's
do
a
they?
good point.
What advice do they need? I don't understand.
I don't know. I mean,
This
I
isn't
feel
for
like
advice.
right. It's not advice per se, but I'm just saying.
Ask Jeremy.
I feel like the term nerd or geek over the past decade.
Well, yeah, now it's cool to like superheroes.
Sure,
and
sure, sure.
comics.
I feel like time. It's just a matter of acceptance. And like I said, a lot of people are just still ignorant. Like, and that's kind of crazy to me.
That's really what it all stems down to. The reason why it has a negative connotation is is just because people don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
As people know more about it, as it becomes more and more integrated in society, people will become more accepting of it. But with any hobby or any form of media or any whatever, there are always people that take things too far.
And eventually, there won't be an always negative stigma around it. People will just pass it off as something they don't do. Like, there won't always be a negative stigma around it, for sure.
I think it's helped in the recent years that like pretty popular, like the anime that everyone knows, what Sam called the flavor of the month, has usually been something that wasn't suggestive or something that was like childish.
I don't know. I mean, for the most part, that's true. But Kill Kill might have been an exception. That was pretty popular.
But I mean, like that was the shit, dude.
That was the shit.
But
Right.
it was
that's all you
suggestive.
need, is someone to take the role, someone to take first place and be the Kill a Kill or be the One Punch Man. You know, like you just need someone to set the pace.
Yeah.
From personal experience, what I've noticed is when people find out I like anime, they react way worse when I tell them I don't like coffee.
Well, who doesn't like coffee?
But it's coffee, Sam.
What are you crazy?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. It has a negative connotation, but I feel like people overamp how much it's hated.
Yeah, I don't really feel any like negative connotation against me whenever I reveal it at this point.
Yeah, usually it's more of a, oh.
So do
Like
I.
I was just like, oh, what have you watched?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember in college, like, I don't know how it came up, but like a girl was talking about Walking Dead. She was sitting next to me with another guy, and I was like, "Oh, I don't watch Walking Dead." Then she was like, "Well, what do you do? What do you watch?" And I'm like,
Like there's no other options.
"I'm like, I guess I just don't do anything." Well, we're running kind of long. I feel like we covered a lot. We should move on very briefly about what we've been watching this week. So
I started One Punch Man.
Oh,
It's going great. It's awesome. And
Awesome.
Nice and big.
I know. Last episode, I tried to convince Hunter and Sam to watch Macross Delta.
I've watched all of it since then.
I
I'm
know,
only 4 episodes in.
but my point is, I don't know if I sold it really well the way I explained it. But afterward,
The
I showed
video
them
worked.
a clip,
Yeah.
and they were sold. They were like, "Oh my gosh, I completely understand what you mean."
I will say, I'm not going to say you overhyped it, but you almost overhyped it. I don't know. From what you were explaining, you made it sound like it was the shit, and it's good.
Right,
I
it's
watched
good.
all
It's
of
not-
it,
yeah,
but
it's
it's not
not-
groundbreaking, but
I didn't mean-
insanely entertaining.
I
Pretty
didn't
good.
mean for it to come off as groundbreaking or anything.
Yeah.
I was just surprised that I'm not hearing anything about it.
Yeah, and also Hunter, like you said, is only on episode 4, so I can't go into much if anyone else there watches
Spoilers.
it. But episode 10 and 11, really sad out of nowhere. Wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
Twists.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the season is coming to an end, so a lot of shows are kind of approaching the climax, and it's just so cool to be watching like 20-something shows and them all having that, like, we're almost at the climax moment. Mm-hmm. Like, that's so cool, like, that amount of hype.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What Hunter just mouthed to me was 20? I've never been watching 20 of anything
Yeah.
at one time.
like, imagine that amount
Double
of
what I've
excitement.
watched total.
Exactly. I'm like, ooh. Yeah.
Also, as of like recording this, the next episode of My Hero Academia comes out in 2 days. So anyone who's listening to it, it's probably already happened. But I always forget the big
Deku?
All Might.
No,
Oh,
All Might.
yeah.
All Might just walked into like his own death trap.
Yeah.
And like I'm
But
genuinely afraid for him.
He's
like,
not smiling.
I know. Well, he's
Oh,
kind of
God.
smiling. He's pissed, but
He looks like he's really trying to smile.
I am actually afraid for him. Like I feel like this is gonna be
Someone's
the
gonna
episode.
get fucked up. I don't know
I
who.
feel like he's gonna get fucked up. Deku's gonna like step up, and then all the bad guys are just gonna run away.
they're, like, the
And it's
same
gonna be like,
person.
"Ooh,
How could-"
season 2?
Dun, dun, dun.
So I went from watching nothing last week to what?
Heyo, what are you doing?
They're cheersing.
To my
We're a little late.
beer.
But I went from watching absolutely nothing to now I have watched Shingeki no Train. I'm
Yeah.
caught up all the way with Shingeki no Train. Caught up completely with Kisniver.
Awesome.
Hell yeah!
And caught up completely with Hero Academia.
Sweet.
And then I'm only 4 episodes into Macross because I ran out of time.
Yes. Because I watched everything else.
But dude,
Yeah.
out of those, Kisniver, definitely my favorite so far. Holy shit.
Kisniver's good. I've been telling you to watch it.
I'll watch it eventually. Yeah, I promise.
Dude, it's Trigger.
That's not always a good
Kill
thing.
it, kill.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Not always a good thing. And I know everything you've seen from Trigger Hunter has been good.
All 2.
I know all too.
Kill and what?
Because never.
Oh, okay.
No, Little Witch Academia.
Oh, that
So
was
now
great.
Who makes
3.
Who makes Trigun?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Because I've never seen Trigun.
I'm disappointed.
Why do you want to know?
Trigger, Trigun.
It has guns.
Okay, those are nice and
Those are words.
kind of.
Those kind of sound similar.
That's hence the
Yeah. Well, I think that's about it.
Oh yeah, jeez. How long have we been going? Like,
We're a little long, but maybe I'll cut some stuff out.
I'm used to being a little long.
Don't
cut that out.
Guys,
fucking
we got our first iTunes review.
Oh shit.
by like a real iTunes review?
Yeah, like a person. So the review is by Pedal Dance, and Pedal Dance is a Tumblr user who has been like sending some like really positive comments. So I just want to thank them so much. The review says, "You guys are doing a great job trying not to be biased and giving great opinions and reasons why you like or don't like the anime you've seen. I'm so glad that there is a podcast out there about anime and even airing anime too, so keep up the good work. I'd love to see more variety of what kind of anime you talk about, like other genres. The music is great too. I came here from Tumblr, so Kyle, people are listening to you out there." That's amazing.
Sweet, dude. That's
I-
really
Thank
cool.
you, iTunes
Pedal
reviewer.
Dance.
Pedal Dance, man.
Yeah, I cannot believe someone took the time to write that,
Yeah,
to say a positive thing. So
Same.
thank you so much. And a lot of other people have been extremely positive as well. We've been getting really good feedback. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Please keep asking us questions. We need them. We wouldn't be here without you guys. So you can ask us questions at theweeabooze on Twitter. We're also theweeabooze@gmail.com. And of course, on Tumblr at Secret Otaku. Thank you, Hentai Dude, for our intro music as always. And thank you, Kid Boo, for our outro music.
Boom.
So, thank you everyone so much for listening. We'll see you all next week. Bye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
You can catch me smoking a sour off the coast of Okinawa. Feeling so high like I'm Ho-Oh in that tower. Take a flight on some shit. Got my dogs riding beside me, blazing hot. That's kamikaze, sacred fire. Don't be mad, I'm lit. Catch me smoking a sour off the coast of Okinawa. Feeling so high like I'm Ho-Oh in that tower. Take a flight on some shit. Got my dogs riding beside me, blazing hot. That's kamikaze, sacred fire. Don't be mad, I'm lit.
Let Sam do the intro.
No.
Sup, bitches?
That's why we don't do that.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's
Hey,
real.
this is
It's
gonna be-
us.
this is
It's
gonna
the
be
Die
distracting.
Joke crew.